Yes, I can see your screen. I can see your screen perfectly.
Hello.
I can see your screen. I can see your screen, Peter.
Okay. Okay. So I want to show us all the images I used.
Okay.
Okay. I want to show us all the images I these are the images I used. This one, these two. Okay. Hello.
Continue, please. Continue.
Alpha Peter.
Thank you. Please continue.
Hello, yeah. How you there?
Please continue.
Fine, oh, fine.
Okay. We don't start already.
Please
No,
continue.
Alana, there.
Continue, please.
Hello? Hello, sir.
Continue. Continue, please. Continue.
Okay. Okay, sir. So I said I want so these are the images I use. I use this, 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 and this.
Wow.
So this is my HTML. Then this my CSS. I use CSS. So this my output, sir.
Okay. Nice one.
Hello, sir.
Nice one. Nice output. Nice output. What's a nice output? A nice output.
Hello.
I can hear you. That's a nice output.
Yeah, Peter, I can hear you.
That's a nice output. Can you hear me, Sharif?
Okay. Can we all see my output?
Yes. That's a nice
Yeah,
output.
yeah, yeah, I can see it.
Yes, sir.
Nice output. So let's do a code review. Can you explain to us the code? How did you create the code? How was it created?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So Peter, can you explain the code to us? How was the code created? How did you do it? Thank you.
Okay. This is my okay, sir. The one you did for us, you did everything in your HTML, but I did not do mine like that. Like I separated the code. So I
Fantastic.
did parts were on okay. Parts were okay. Let me start. I have my HTML, which says Monday.html. So now this on my line 5, it shows that I linked my CSS. The name of my CSS is Peter.css, link rel style sheet. So that's that. Then we have the head, they have the body. Then now I have my div class, which is the parent div, to be a div container. Then now I named every of my item. I started from item 1 till item 16. So now this is item 1. So now when we look at line 10, that's why I called on the image. I only use 4 images on my code. So line 1 is the first div. That's this image. That's this image. So that's my first image. So I did that. So I copy and pasted that. Then I the only changes I did there was renaming all my images. When we look at line 13, that's the second image. That's the name of that image is image.jpeg. That's image.jpeg. So that's I did till the last div, which is on line 54. So now this is my HTML. So now let me go to my CSS. This is my CSS. So now I first call on the parent div. That is dot grid container. That's the parent class dot grid container. So I said the display should be grid. Then these grid template columns. Now since I'm using 4 auto, if I use 3 auto, that means I will have 3 columns. But now I want 4 columns. That's why I'm using the 4 auto. Now I want my column gap and my row gap the column gap it should be 15 pixel. The row gap should be 15 pixel. That's the space within them. The space within the column gap should be 15 pixel. The space between the row gap should be 15 pixel, and that's what we see on line 5. The column gap is 15 pixel. The row gap is 15 pixel. Now this is my background color. This is the color you explain to. So I'm calling on the parents div. I'm calling on the parents class, which is this div container. I said the background color should be this. Now I changed the padding here. So now this is where now when I did all this, but when I first inputted my image, the image lapped on each other, meaning that their width was too much, their height was too much. So when I did that at first, when I first put the image without this my CSS, all the images were just lapping on each other. So that's why I did this. So I called the image on line 14 from my HTML. I said the display should be blocked. Now let the margin left be auto. Let the margin right be auto. Now this will now specify the width of the image. When we look at the width, I said let the width be 210 pixel, let the height be 230 pixel. So now when I now did all this, if I run my code, I got this. So that's how I got it, sir. Hello, sir.
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay,
Peter,
I'm
no,
done.
I can hear you
Okay,
perfectly.
and that's how I got the code, sir.
Thank you so much.
So that's how I got it, sir. Yes, sir.
I appreciate it. Now, you are going to explain this code again. Why? Because you were very fast.
Okay.
And as I said, explain it. You are
Okay.
really improving a spirit in which a 5 or 6-year-old can understand. Please, you need to take it
Okay, sir.
and expand your code so that we can understand it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. Okay. Let me start. Let me just expand my code. Okay, can we all see my code now?
Yes, I can see it.
Yes.
So okay. So let me start from line 4. This line 4 just says Monday assignment on CSS grid. So that's just the heading. So I put a paragraph there. Now let's now go to line 5. This line 5 is just linking my CSS. It's really nothing, but I'm telling my code that I want to use an external CSS. I did not use an inline CSS here. I did not use an internal CSS. I used an external CSS. That's why I'm linking it. When you check on code 5 on line 5, you will see link rel style sheet href peter.css. This peter.css is what I named my CSS. So why it is like this? Because I want to use an external CSS. I did not want my code to be too much. So that's what I did on my number 5. So on number 6, I closed the head. I opened the head on line 3. When you look at it very well, but on line 6, I closed the head. Now I have the body. I want all this my code to be in the body. So that's why I started from the body. I opened my body on line 7 and I closed it on line 60. I hope you can see that. So now let me now start from my line 8 till my line 58. I use the div class. So now my div class adds as a parent div. When you now look at are we following?
Yes.
Yes,
Hello?
you are following, brother.
Okay. On my line 8, it has a parent div, which is the grid container. The grid hyphen container. That's my parent div. I'm telling what line 8 is saying, that everything I will do, let it be inside this container. It's just as if let me just use a universal set. Now, okay, let me use a math set. A math set now, there's compass inside, there's divider inside. So the math set is the universal set, but the things that are inside are the subsets. So this is how it is too. Line 8 is my parent container. Everything I should do, it should be inside my parent it should be inside the parent div. So line 8 is my parent div. That's why it's named like that. Now, I have so from my line 9 to my line 55. Yes. From my line 9 to my is the child div. Let me call it child div. Now, when you see line 9, I said div class item 1. I named everything. So item 1. When you see line 12, item 2, I name it till item because I'm using 16 items here. Normally, if I was to use a number, it will be item 1. I will not start with 1, item 2, 2. But I'm not using a number, I'm using a picture. So that's line 9. Now, when you now go to line 10, that's where my image is coming on. Now look at line 10. It says img source. Now, this code.jpg is the name of the image I'm using. Let me show you all the image I used. This is code JPEG. This is the image. This is the image I used. Now, when you now go to line 10, that's how I called on the image. So just don't look at this alt, which says peter.jpg. If I modify this code now and I remove this code.jpg, you just see that this Peter, what this Peter.jpg is stating is that this is what is written under my picture. Now, if I remove this code.jpg, when I render it is written. That's what I did from code 9. If you really understand code 9 and code 10, that is the same I did till, because I'm using a div class, I'm replicating the same thing. So you see, I did it from that
code 9 and code 10. Can you explain it again?
Line 9 and 10 till line 55.
And code 10.
So I use 4 different images. Let me show you my image. These are all the images I used. I used box.jpg, box1.jpg, box2. What do you say?
I'm not the one that talked to.
Okay. Yeah. So these are all the images. I used 4 images, which is box.jpg, box1.jpg, box2. Then all these 5 images. That's what I used. Now line 10. You see that the first image is named code.jpg. When you look at line 13, the second image is named image.jpg. The third image is on line 16. So that's how I did it till line 55. So that is for that. Now, if you run this without the CSS, what you'll be getting is you just see what do I call it? You just see images because I've not done the CSS. So now let me go to my CSS, peter.css. So I will have to go to peter.css. This is peter.css. Now, this is a class. Now, when we look at my code, my line, the parent div, I call it grid container, grid-container. To call it now, I must put in front. Normally, don't mind where I started. That I started from line 2. I can start from line 1. It's really nothing. So to call this class, because it's a class, it's not an ordinary CSS. It's a class. Now, when you look at it, you see that I said div class on line 8, div class grid container. So it's a class. So that's why I said div class. Now, but when you look at line 4, if I want to modify line 4, I just need to write P. I don't need to put dot in front because this is not a class. Not this. I said let my display, let it be grid. Now, look at line 4 very well because it's line 4 that beautified my code. Now, all the display I did, if this line 4 is not there, it will not come up. So now I said line 4 says grid template column, meaning that grid template color, I said let everything be auto. Now, when you look at this is you have auto in 4 places. If you have auto in 3 places, that means I'll be having 3 columns. But now I had auto in 4 places. That means I have 4 columns. Now, in our last class, we talked about grid gap. Now, is the grid gap is the row gap and the column gap, such that the space between the column and the space between the row, that's the grid gap. So in this my code, I said let the column gap. The first one is the column gap. The second one is the row gap. Let the column gap be 15 pixel. Let the row gap be 15 pixel. That's line 5. So on my line 6, that's where the background color is. We all know background color. I gave it a color. Then on my line 7, I gave it a pattern. That's just that. So now let me now go. Now if let's now go to number 14. If I did not call this number 14, all that my images will be lapping on each other. That you will not be able to see my screen because the image will be too big. It will be on each other, and it will not have a clear view. That's why number 14 was called. Now, when I called out number 14, can you see that this one is not a class? I called it out there. That's why there was no dot in front. But now when you look at line 10, I'm calling out the parent div. Now, you thought about this greater than, that is called the descendant div, such that if this is the parent div and this from line 10 is the descendant div. I hope you get what I'm saying. Then line 14, that's where I called the image. When this IMG I'm using, is the style of the image. So I said let the display be block, let the margin left be auto, let the margin right be auto. Now this is the width are the one that reduced the image. Normally the image was very big. So now I said let the width be 210 pixel, let the height be 230 pixel. So now that's how I did my code. So now when I now run it, this is what I got. When you look at the first image, that's the first image. This is the second image, the third image. That's how this is just the divs that you see. The first div that you see is the first image. The second div is the second image. The third div is the third image. The fourth div is the fourth image. So that's how I did my code, sir. So thank you very much, sir. Is there any question?
Well, I have one question. So, are
Okay,
you
sir.
saying that if I did not size my image, it is going to overlap the same way I did it? Maybe you can just edit your code, take away the width and the height of the image. Let us see how it's going to be displayed on your phone.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Or let me just remove all my image,
No.
right?
Just do it for that one. Just do it for that. Just do that. Just that only. I'm just trying
Okay.
to.
So can you see, sir? Can you see what I got, sir?
Yes, I can see that.
So
Mm.
it was scattered.
Now, this from what I'm this is an error, but I don't know the kind of error it is.
Okay.
In programming, there are types of errors. So I want you to read about the types of errors in programming.
Okay, sir.
So there are different kinds. This is an error. So there's the syntax error, there's runtime error. There are different kinds of error, and each error has its own name. And an error can have more than one. Is the same error can have more than one name. So I want you to do an elaborate what they call it study on it, and can tell me more about it. Then you know when you are going through your code, oh, this kind of error. Oh, I
Okay.
experienced this kind of error. So you'll be able to know the difference between syntax error, the runtime error. So all those things are very important.
Okay, sir.
Yes. Thank you so much. You can
Okay,
review
sir.
your code. Just review your code so that
Okay.
we're able to do one or two things today. So Sharif, what do you have to say?
Peter has said most of all what I have, but I can display my own screen to share the little knowledge I have.
That's
Okay.
that's fantastic. Please let's clap for Peter. Let's give him a round of applause. I'm so happy that I am gaining from Peter. Thank you so much. But Sharif, you can share your screen too. Thank you so much.
Applaudissez.
Yes. So Sharif, I'm waiting for you.
I'm trying to join
Okay, no problem.
so I can share my screen.
We are patient.
Yes, is loading already.
So Thompson, are you there? Sharif is sharing his screen. Thompson, are you there?
Yeah, I'm no Sheriff is here.
I know
I'm
Sharif
trying
is here.
to.
Thompson, Eric, can you hear me?
Yeah, he's here.
Yeah, I'm here, sir.
Okay, thank you so much.
So I've joined now, so I want to share my screen.
Okay, share your screen.
So can you all see my window?
Yes, I can see. Yes, I can see your code. Fantastic.
Okay, so based on the code you sent us, I tried to input an image to all those boxes. You know, we have box 1, box 2, box 3, up to box 16. So I inputted just 3 images on 3 boxes, box 1, box 2, and box 3. So let me show you the output so that I can explain. This is the output. You have this. This is an image in box 1, an image in box 2, an image in box 3, where you have 4, 5, 6, and the rest. Do we all get that?
I'm not seeing it too.
That's the network from your end. That's the network from your error from your end. So it's not a problem.
Okay.
But
So let
Sharif, I know you're using my code, but I want
yes,
you to if you study the code, I want you to explain it to us. So
yeah, I have my own
oh,
code right
fantastic.
here,
Okay
just
then.
an easy code.
Okay, thank you. Okay, explain it to us.
Okay,
Thanks.
let me use this. So this is a code showing different grids with, let me just say, the same. I use the same image here for about 9 grids. So this is the output. You have 9 different grids, rows and columns, having the same image on it. So let me just explain. You can use different image, but let me just explain the code. From this is the code, the normal code we have. From line 4, we have the Monday tax. Then it was linked. Line 5 shows that it was linked to Chef CSS, which is the CSS file I use for it, in order to beautify the outputs of the code. So we have the body. I use an header here, grid with image tags. This is it here, showing here, grid with image tags. So going back to the code, you have the div class, which means I'm trying to create a grid. So you have the div, which is classed as div container. Then inside that div container, what are the things I want to have inside that grid item, inside that grid container? So I'm trying to say, okay, I want to have like 9 items in that grid container. So that's why we have, from line 12, we have item 1, item 2, up to item 9. So that is why our output is showing 9 different grids, 3 rows, 3 columns. If I should change it to 6, it's going to give us 6 grid items. So for item 1, I want a particular image to be there. So after the div for the item 1, we are going to have the image. Which image do I want to use? So I went to use the image screen, which I picked out the image using the name of the image is 101.jpg. So you have alternate, which equals to image. Alternate is just like telling you like the description of that image. I might have a image as the name. For example, let me go to this other code. Look at this line 47 over here. Oh, line 48. There's an image here saying Sheffield.jpg. But the alternate here is telling you Sheriff in a car, which is describing the image that Sheriff is in a car. While for line 49 here, you have Sheriff eating, which is telling us that the picture shows what? Sheriff eating. If I should open it now, look at what you are going to have. Sheriff in a car here, while Sheriff eating over here. So that's just what alternate is for. Most times, maybe when you are through with your HTML and you Google search, maybe you just write Sheriff eating. There's the possibility that it's going to bring out this image for you over here from my own little understanding. So let me go back to my own code. So are we all getting me? Am I not rushing? Hello, anybody?
No, continue.
All right. So from line where is this? Okay. Yeah, so from line 11 to line
Me,
39.
I'm still not seeing anything. No.
Is your network, bro?
Don't worry, it's your
This one's
network.
strong.
Don't worry, you can watch your YouTube later. Don't worry, just pay attention, Thompson. Thank you.
So from line 17 to line 39, it's like you have a cooler, a container. That okay, all these things are inside that container. So you now have from line 12 to line 38 are those items that are inside that container, which is 9 different items. So that's the HTML file. Let me now explain the CSS file. This is the CSS file. I will say, oh no, CSS is for you to beautify the output of your code. So how do I want my code to be? You have the grid container showing you different items. You have the display. How do you want the display of the grid to be? Grid, you have different options there. Let me clear it. You have this, you have block, you have content, you have flexbox, and the rest. Though I use grid. If I should use another option, there are ways the output is going to look like. So the next line here in line 4, you have the grid template columns. How do you want those columns to be? Do you want them to be in 3 columns? Do you want them to be in 4 columns? Do you want to be 5 columns? I use 3 here. That's why you saw the columns in 3 columns. From my output here, you have 3 columns, 1, 2, and 3. If I should use 2 autos, it means you are going to have 2 columns, just 1 and 2. So let me come back to this. Let me change the auto. Let me just use 2 auto and run it again so you can all see what I'm. Look at this. You have just 2 columns. That is what this grid template column is talking about. So I use 3. The grid gap. Now this grid gap is telling you how do you want the gaps to be, the gaps of the row or the column. You have 30 pixels for the row and 50 pixels for the column. So if you look at your output, you see this line here. This is a gap. This is a gap. All these are gaps. Column gap, row gap. So that is what this line is talking about. This line 5. You now have the background color, green. If you look at the background color, you can see that the background color here is green. As you can see, green. That's the background color. Just to beautify it, you have your padding to 20 pixel. Look at the top here. You can see that there is a space here. If I should remove the padding, all this image, the box here is going to go to the top. Let's try that. I'm removing the padding to 0. Let's just use 0 pixel. And let's see what's going to happen. Look at this. Look at the top. You don't have like a border. There is not something like a border. It's not there anymore. So that is what the padding is doing for us over there for now. So let's continue. Now, this is grid container. This grid container is like a descendant, just like my friend Peter said. You have a grid. You now want something to be inside that grid, like a style inside a style. That is what this grid container is talking about. But you see that you notice that in this grid container, we didn't use open brackets directly. After the grid container, we use a greater than sign, which is telling you that something is inside something. So you now have div again, then div, which means you're having another thing actually. So opening bracket, what do you want to be inside that container? Another background color. That's the back. This is the background color here. Another background color inside the container. That's why we're having this. If I should remove this, let me go back to it. If I should remove this grid container, you are going to see how plain it is going to look. Let me now run it just for us to confirm. Look at this. You don't have the background. You don't have anything inside the grid again. Just the background color, green, and the images. So with the code, undo. Yes. So with the code there, running it again, you have this. Do we all get that?
Yes.
Do we all get? Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
let's continue. So that is what line 10 for the CSS and line 11 is talking about, with the padding also, which talks about the size. So for our image to be okay, you have okay, yes, you have this. For our image to be in the box, you have to have a code for the image. That means you cannot just put an image. It's going to be like no size, no width, no nothing. It's going to like overlap it in a wrong way. So you have to have an image with a size for or with a code for the size. So that's why we have image here, opening the image. That means for all image, the display should be in block format. That's line 15. While for all image, the margin left should be auto, the margin right should be auto, and the width should be 150 pixel and the height should be 150 pixel. That is why we have our image here in such a way that it is like this. I can increase the width and it's going to be wide. I can decrease it, whatever I want to do with it, depending on how I want it to look.
Okay.
So that
Can we
is the
can we
code.
make the width 100%?
Like, okay, you mean the width should
Yes.
cover this, the
The
total
entire
space here.
yes, yes. Make the width 100%. Let's see what's gonna happen.
Okay, 100%.
Yeah.
100. What is that? So 100%. Okay, let's see. 100. Let's use the height to be 100%. Or
No,
let's try it
just
first.
leave the height. Leave the height.
Okay.
Just
All right.
run the code. Let's run
So
the code.
once we do this, look at the width now. Can you see? It's not more than the grid created for it. Do you all see that now?
So now that's explaining some things to you that making your width 100% inside a grid. That's each of them are
Mm.
grid items. It explains to you that
Yes.
they balance on it the way you want it. So for instance, let's say use different images, and you'll be having different views of images, angles of images. Now the task I'm going to give you is implement different images with different bigger sizes, and you'll see the output. Then then we'll now move into another part of CSS grid. We are going to adjust some parts in the CSS grid. Is that okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So now move back to your code.
Should I stop sharing my screen?
No,
Okay,
no,
I should
don't
go back to
stop.
my code.
Move back to your code. Are you done? Are you done with your code?
Yes, I'm done with the code.
Okay,
Nothing.
I still have some things to do in your code. Go back to your CSS.
Okay, this is the CSS.
Okay, now the reason why you will see the height, now you see 12 pixels, 7 pixels, that's padding. So now what's
Yes.
padding? Now let me explain padding to you. And that's the
Okay.
meaning. So padding is, you know, you have a container that takes in a lot of items, right? So now the container is already full, right? So I'm saying,
Okay.
okay, I still want to add some things to it. Like the container contains sand, and I still want to add some things to it. Now, what's padding? Padding means I want to what? Expand that container, right? I want to stretch it so that I can what? Add some sand to it. So let's say the container is a plastic. There's a way they do it whereby you expand the plastic so that the plastic can take in more what? Sand. So that's what they call padding. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Now see that 7 pixels. Can you remove that 7 pixels and save it and run the code again? Save it, run the code again. So can you see your images? Can you see? You won't see the difference now. Is that also? Are you seeing any difference? Any difference in each of those items? You have not seen it, but I can see it. Don't worry, go back to your code. Go back to your code. Go back to your code. Now, so Control Z it. Control Z it. Now, that's 7 pixels. Put no, go back to your CSS, please. Now that's 7 pixels. Change it to 20 pixels. Now save it. Now run your code. Are you
Oh,
seeing the difference
I
now?
didn't know I've mute myself. I was just talking. Yeah, there's a difference there.
Thank you.
The space here between the width of the image and the container.
Can you see it? So that's
Yes,
the
sir.
usefulness of padding. Now that's the container, right? That's the item container.
Yes, sir.
The container is there,
Yes, sir.
but I want to expand it whereby it takes in more items. So you have to shrink what is inside so that the other what items can come into that container.
Sorry, come again, sir.
So there's a container, right? There's a plastic container that takes in
Yes, sir.
sand, right? So
Yes, sir.
outside of the container, I can't touch it. But what I can do is that the inside of that container, I can expand it
Yes.
inside so that I can
Yes, sir.
put in more items into it. Now, the
Yes, sir.
outside of the container is that color you put outside.
Green.
Thank you. No, no, no. That's the small items. Each of those items, they are containers. Sorry, each
Okay,
of those
yes.
items, they are items
Okay.
container. So now,
Yes,
save
yes.
them. Now, see that image inside. Those are the what items you are putting into that items of the container.
Inside the item container.
Yes, yes. So now, when you want to expand your image, right? The image is 100% in its weight, but the more you increase that, what do you call it? That 20 pixels. Now change it to 40 pixels. Now, see what's going to happen. I want to explain another part for you.
Done, sir.
Go back to your code. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
So I'm saying, okay, I want you to shrink the items inside so that I can have what a space of 40 pixels so that I can do what I want to do. So now, when you're writing your code for padding, for padding, now the first item you're writing is moved in a clockwise way. So the first one you wrote, is it not 10 pixels or 20 pixels? 10
Yes,
pixels.
sir.
10 pixels. Now that one is for the top.
12 pixel.
12 pixels. That one's for the
Yes.
top. That's for the top. Now the next one, 40 pixels, is for the what? The right.
For the width.
Yes,
Yes, right.
that's the right. The next one, right, is this taking the 12 pixels. That's for the what? That's for the bottom. Now the next one is for the what? The left. and that's what 40 pixels. That's why you see that the left and the right, they have the same what space, while the top and the bottom have
Yes.
the same space. Are you with
Yes.
me? Now,
Yes, sir.
between line 12 and 13, create a space. I want to explain another thing to you. That's why today's topic is CSS grid, the grid templates column, and what other things. Now put margin, 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 type margin, margin,
Okay.
just margin. Then put it in, use 2rem, 2rem, 2REM.
Done, sir.
Yeah, save it and run your code.
Hmm.
I can't see your output.
This is it.
So what's happening? What happened?
It was like shrinked.
What shrink? Is it the inside or the outside container that
The
shrink?
both the item container and the image.
The item container and the image, they both shrink.
Yes.
Okay, now uncomment it again. So you need to have that coding eye, that programming
I
eye.
should do what?
Uncomment, comment that margin and run your code again. Comment the margin and run your code again. Do you know how to comment?
It's commenting for it's commenting for all.
No, don't comment for
Let
all.
me start, sir.
Just comment the only margin. You put it in the front too.
Do you know what you do? Now,
Uh,
I liked that line 13. I liked line 13.
okay.
I liked it. I liked means you use your mouse. Okay.
Mm.
So I liked everything. Then you press Control. Then your divide sign.
Control.
Your divide sign.
Control. Divide sign.
Yes, your divide sign
Okay.
on your keyboard. I liked it. Control your divide sign.
Okay. Done.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Save it. Save it and run it again. Now take note of it. Take note of it. Now, can you see it's margin is doing the work of grid gap for you. So margin deals with the outside, right? Padding deals with the what? The inside.
The inside.
So you can see the difference now. So one thing one of my mentor taught me, he said code does not lie. So code does not lie. So now I want you to go back to your code and uncomment it. Now save it.
I'm here, sir.
Okay, can you see?
Sir, can I try something?
Okay, you are free. But don't
I
let
want to
us know
try
what
and
you are
see
trying.
if
Let us
if
know what you are
if
trying.
the okay, yes, I want to I should put a margin to the grid container itself.
Okay, please feel free.
Let us say 3M. Okay. I use 3M. Okay, very good.
Can you see?
Very good.
So
Do you all see what happened there?
yes. Can you explain to us what happened?
Yes, the container was shrink a little,
Yes.
whereby we have space at the
Outside, not the inside.
yes.
The outside of that container, not the inside of the container, the outside. So when you hear margin, that's the outside. When you hear padding, you want to pad it inside. That's the inside. So that's the
Sir, sir,
yeah.
sir,
Tell me more.
sir.
Please speak up.
So when you now use auto, what does that mean?
Okay. Go back to your code. That's the Greek template column. That's what I want to explain today. It won't take me much time. Now go back to your code, Sharif. Now Thank God you have your system working. So if are you in your code? I can't see your code yet.
I'm here.
Your code. Move to your code, please.
Okay, this is the code.
Now. So now grid templates column. So there's what we call grid templates row. There's grid template column. So grid template column is saying I want you to create a grid. And I told you everything in life is a grid, right? With a template.
Yes.
Template means I want you to follow this format. And what format are we following? It must be what? A column format. That's why they call it grid template columns.
Column.
Yes. That's S in the front. That means you can create more than one column. So when I say auto means automatically whatever you are doing, it should be what? A column. And it should take what? The automatic space of 100%. Now the next auto is saying, okay, I have two auto here. So one is taking 100%, the other one is taking 100%. So two of them is taking 100%, right? So 100%, 100%, right? And there are two. So 100 and 100, that's 200%, right? Divided by 2, that's what? 100%. So it's still going back to what? 100%. They have to divide it by 2 because why? Because in his own, the first auto is doing his own 100%. The second one is doing his what? 100%. So if you look at it, that's 50-50 for them. Why what? They are taking what? Auto, the first auto is 50%, second one is what? 50%. Now you now have three autos. So they will not take it. Okay, the screen is 100% and we have three auto. That means we must share it equally. So it will be what? 100 divided by what? 3. So the first auto is like 33.3%. Second one is 33.3%. The third one is what? 33.3%. Are you with me?
We are with you.
Thank you. So that's grid template column. So I want you to just see that when you hear the word auto, that's why when you put the next one, the fourth one, that's why you should now say, okay, we have 4 auto here. 100% divided by 4 is what? 25.5%. So the first one will be 25, second one 25, third one 25, fourth one will be what? 25%. So that's how programming is. But make sure your display must be grid on what's a line grid. So because if your display is not grid, I know you talked about that, and you use flex. Flex will work for some few reasons, but there's a difference between flex and grid. So if you hear that word flex, that means it's flexible. Grid is saying, I want you to do this one particularly for this reason.
Okay. Hello, sir.
Yeah, something. Please ask your question.
Okay. So please, I want you to throw more light on the difference
Between
because
flex and grid.
yes, between flex and this grid of a thing.
Okay, now flex is used for a particular reason. Like, okay, I want to create a flexible what container. Okay, use display flex there. Display flex. Now save it and run your code. Can you see it? So I want you to be flexible. So now scroll. Can you see it? So when something is flexible, you won't be able to control it for some while. It's out of control. So you now have to write some code that will be able to bring it back to what you want it to be. But I'm saying grid means, okay, it is graded to a place that this is what I want you to do. This is what I want you to do. You can click hide, Sheriff. You can click hide. You can click hide. Yes. So I'll give you guys some assignments. Read about the errors in programming. Read about those errors, and then so that we can know much about errors, and then we can move from here. Our next topic is going to be, so that I gained from you guys, and I'm so happy about that. Our next topic is going to be the second aspect in CSS grid, which is when we go to the second, go to W3 School, the second section after the first one, the introduction part, the next one So you do we walk about, they call it the grid lines, the grid areas. So read about the grid areas. So you can write the code, I'll appreciate it. The grid lines, the grid areas. So those things are very important when you're coding, when you're writing your code. So grid lines, grid area. Grid lines, yes, grid area. So grid line columns. So there's grid rules. So you use the numbers. It can be 1, 2, 3, 5. It can be 1, 3, 2. Sorry, 1/2/3/4. Can be 2/3/3/4. So all those things are very important when you're programming. Now, I want you to just go through it, have more understanding of it. I will continue from there in the next class. Thank you so much, Sharif, for everything, teaching me how to code. Thank you, Peter, and thank you,
Thank you, sir.
yes. We'll see you in the
Thank you,
next
sir.
class, and have a lovely weekend. Yeah, yeah. Please share
You too,
with your
sir.
friend. Share it with your friend. Share these things with your friend. It's very important. Share it on your WhatsApp status. Yeah. Thank you. Bye bye.